You're running around on autopilot, following the same broke belief systems your whole life, and you don't even know it. It's kind of like that episode of The Office when Michael Scott drives straight into the lake because the GPS told him to, and everyone's like, no, stop. But he's convinced that you should just follow this automated voice.
The machine knows!
This is the lake!
Stop yelling at me!
No, it's
Stop
not
yelling!
There's no road
Here!
If you want money to start to come into your life easily and you want it to come in great abundance, you want to get rich, you want financial freedom, you want more ease in your career and in your financial life, if you do exactly what this video says, you will bring so much money into your life that you really won't believe it. And I know that sounds like I'm blowing smoke up your butt, but I can tell you that this will get you rich because these aren't my ideas. I met a man that I'm going to tell you a bit about in this video, and he told me these 5 things that I had to do. And these 5 things that I had to do were contrary to everything that I was taught and believed. I thought you needed to work harder, XYZ. When I did these 5 things, I ended up making millions of dollars in my 20s. And so what I want to invite you to do is to do exactly what this video says to do. It's easy. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's not a new business strategy or a new financial tip and investing system you need to follow. It's way easier than that. And when you do it, you'll be amazed how quickly your financial life changes. My name is Jake with JakeDucey.com. If you're new here, thanks for clicking on this video. And if you're a returner, thanks for coming back. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, bell notification to get notified for new videos. And I have a free financial success hypnosis that I made for myself when I was in my early 20s because I had all these negative financial habits and behaviors and beliefs and really feelings about myself and about money that I had to reprogram. And when I reprogrammed them, my life really changed. And it's free. I give it away for free. About 1 million people from all over the world that use it every day. I get these awesome stories of people attracting more money out of nowhere, getting a new client, getting more money really quickly. They tried everything else and they were seeing results just by listening to this for a couple minutes. So it's free. Just listen to it for 2 or 3 minutes a day. You could do it in the morning, 10 minutes at night when you're falling asleep. The time doesn't matter. It's just doing it every day for a few minutes. It will turn your subconscious mind into a magnet for bringing money into your life. So it's free. You can click right there to get that. You can go to jakeshypnosis.com, or it's in the link in the description of this video, or it's pinned as the top comment in the comment section. So check that out and let's dive right into this. So when I first met my mentor, Bob Proctor, he just asked me one question. How much money do you want to make, Jake? And I was thinking, if I could make 10, 20 grand, that'd be incredible. But deep down, like most people, it'd be cool to make $1 million. And Bob hits me back and he's like, why haven't you achieved that? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not working hard enough, I guess. And Bob goes, that's your problem, Jake. Money isn't hard. It's a game, and if you follow the rules, you're going to get rich. He quoted Napoleon Hill, if you think hard work alone will bring riches, perish the thought. Riches come from definite demands and applying specific principles, not by chance or luck. And I was skeptical, right? Like, could making money be this easy? But at the time, I was broke and I was just coming off a year where I made $8,500. And Bob told me his coaching cost hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, but he would coach me for free if I followed exactly what he told me to do. And I could still hear his voice. He's like, I'll coach you for free if you do exactly what I say until you find out that I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. And you will see, Jake, I am not lying and I do know what I'm talking about. So I invite you to watch this video all the way through and then watch it again or listen to it again. Try to do it every day for the next week or two. This isn't me telling you what to do. This is me sharing multiple $100,000 coaching advice that ended up being worth millions of dollars to me. And so I want to invite you to do exactly what Bob says and then watch what happens. The first thing Bob taught me is it's not your fault, but it kind of is. Now, the first thing that I invite you to understand is that you were set up. Between the ages of 0 and 7, your brain was a sponge, and then it soaks up everything around you, especially about money. And that's because during your early years, your brain's in what's called theta brainwave state. And it's a state that turns you basically into a mini hypnotized robot that absorbs everything. And the problem is that the adults around you had no idea how to program you correctly for money. You might have heard things growing up like, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are evil, we can't afford that. And those phrases get locked into your little subconscious mind while you're still trying to figure out how to tie your shoes. And then now, here you are as an adult, and you're wondering why you're stuck financially. You're running around on autopilot, following the same broke belief systems your whole life, and you don't even know it. It's kind of like that episode of The Office when Michael Scott drives straight into the lake because the GPS told him to, and everyone's like, no, stop. But he's convinced that you should just follow this automated voice.
The machine knows!
This is the lake!
Stop yelling at me!
No, it's
Stop
not
yelling!
yelling! There's no road here!
Now, that's exactly how most of us are with money. We're following outdated programming. And we never stop to ask, like, is this the right directions to financial success? And the good news is, this is a map that can take you there. But first, let's just do a little detour to your childhood and my childhood where Bob took me. And for me, it was a little bit bumpy because I realized I had some money programming I had to fix. Now, the second thing Bob taught me is that you become financially what you saw as a kid. So if you rewind the tape and you look back at how this programming actually works, let's just like imagine two people, Sarah and Mike. So imagine Sarah grew up in a house where her parents didn't stress about money. They saved, they invested, they talked about money like it was a tool, they had positive money conversations, they didn't talk about it like it was a monster hiding under the bed or a necessary evil. And Sarah didn't even realize it, but money became normal for her. So when she grew up, it was natural for her to make smart money choices. It was like she was born with a money magnet that was strapped to his back. And then on the flip side, you take that guy, Mike. So imagine Mike grows up in a house where it's the opposite. Money's tight. His parents fought over money all the time. And they say things like, rich people are greedy. Money is bad. We can't afford that. Don't you know money doesn't grow on trees? And Mike soaks all this up. It's just like a sponge that keeps soaking it up and expanding. Then as an adult, he's struggling. He doesn't know why. He tries to work harder. He tries to do the right business. He tries to buy a coach. He tries to do all these things. But it's like having a handful of sand and the financial success just keeps evading him. The crazy thing is, neither Mike nor Sarah have any idea that any of this is happening because they're unconscious scripts, just like when Michael was following the GPS. And you might get a lot of bad money habits that you don't even know why you're doing them, and you may even vow during New Year's you're going to change them. Like, I'm not going to get into credit card debt again. I'm not going to blow all my money on silly things. And you don't know why it's keep happening. It's like when Michael finds out he has some really bad spending habits.
Okay, the green bar is what you spend every month on stuff you need, like a car and a house. The red bar is what you spend on non-essentials, like magazines, entertainment,
Right.
things like that. This scary black bar is what you spend on things that no one ever needs, like multiple magic sets, professional bass fishing equipment.
How did you do this so fast? Is this PowerPoint?
Now, of course, that's just adding some humor, and it's a bit exaggerated because it's a TV show, but that's basically how we are. we don't even realize that we're doing all these self-defeating things. And that's why it's so important to reprogram your subconscious mind. You don't have to go through every detail of your childhood, and you may not even be able to discover consciously all of that negative financial programming in the first place. But what you can do is just use simple repetition, and your subconscious mind will still act like a sponge, and it will absorb new, updated financial programming. And I have a free financial success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's pinned to the comments as the top comment right there down below. And it is pinned in the description of the video, the link in the description, where you can click right here on this little pop-up somewhere, or go to jakeshypnosis.com. It's free to use. It's jakeshypnosis.com. And all you got to do is listen to it for a couple minutes every day, and it will start to reprogram your subconscious mind and turn it into a magnet for money. It'll start replacing old, limiting financial habits, behaviors, thoughts, beliefs, and the money starts to show up as a result because your outside financial life mirrors your inner subconscious programming. And that's why Bob told me at the beginning that it's not hard work. It's just a very specific reprogramming. So you can check that out for free. It's jakeshypnosis.com. Now, that brings us to the third thing Bob taught me, and that was to wake up, that the money struggle is optional. And this is really the hardest thing to grasp when I learned from Bob, that the wealth you attract is in proportion to becoming conscious of your unconscious. There's no amount of side hustles and extra work hours and amount of, like Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy to alleviate your money problems. You can't win the lottery enough, because ultimately your financial life will come back to the way that you're programmed, even if you do pull a Michael Scott and declare bankruptcy.
I declare bankruptcy!
So I invite you to just think back to Sarah and Mike, right? Those examples we talked about earlier. Sarah had all these financial opportunities fall in her lap. She was always well off. It was her normal, right? Because she was wired that way. And then Mike, on the other hand, he's always hustling, setting new goals, but he can never get ahead because deep down he doesn't believe he deserves it, or he's programmed negatively in some way financially. So he's stuck in that financial scarcity subconscious mindset without even realizing it. Basically like he's running backwards, and he doesn't realize he's running backwards because he's always ran backwards. And that's how a lot of us are. We think we're making conscious decisions, but really we're just acting out of the old script. So if you want to change your financial reality, what I invite you to do is figure out what script have you been following, because that's when you can flip it. So you can ask yourself, what would change if you really believed money was easy to make? Like deep down, if you believed wealth was your birthright, or was your right to be rich, or it was important to be rich, that if you believe in a higher power, if you believed God wanted you to be rich, that it was part of your spiritual destiny, imagine what that would feel like, and imagine the doors that would open. It's an entirely new way to perceive reality itself. And it is a conscious decision you can make that can become a subconscious belief system. And that's why it's so important to reprogram your subconscious. You can get my free success hypnosis, jakeshypnosis.com. It's pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. Now, the fourth thing is Bob said, stop working so hard. And like, seriously, stop. Because this is where people get really uncomfortable with this idea, because Bob said something that sounded crazy, that hard work doesn't make you rich. Like, really think about it. Hard work doesn't make you rich. We've all been told that if we just work harder, if we put in more hours, if we hustle nonstop, we're going to eventually make it. But the truth is that hard work doesn't guarantee wealth. And in a lot of ways, it could be the obstacle to you getting there. If you think about it, there's plenty of people that work really hard, and they're working for almost no money, or they're in debt their whole lives. And then there's other people that never break a sweat and they get rich. The key is they're operating by different rules. So you have to adopt new rules. And one of them is to believe that money comes quickly and easily to you. You can comment that down below. Money comes to me quickly and easily. And that brings us to number 5, to brainwash yourself to get rich, right? And this is the full circle of reprogramming the subconscious, because 95% of your life is controlled by childhood programming, which is crazy. So you have to go straight to the source. You have to rewire your brain to think differently and to feel differently about money. And science now shows us this is totally possible and it's not that hard. So here's a few simple techniques that Bob taught me. First is hypnosis, right? And when you hear that word, a lot of people think it's like cult-like mind control.
Mind control? You can't be serious. Are you serious?
Hypnosis works because it bypasses your conscious mind. So you get straight to your programming. And when Bob first coached me, he told me to listen to a success hypnosis every night. At the time, he even had me get a pillow speaker that would go into my pillow so I could listen to it all the time, so I could start to rewire it. Now, the way that this works is the subconscious isn't logical or rational. That's why you have some beliefs as an adult that may seem silly. And you're like, why do I even have this? Like, for example, maybe your parents got divorced when you were younger, so subconsciously you associated money with pain. So you may believe love is pain or love is hard work. And if that's your belief system, you're going to struggle in relationships, right? Well, the same thing is so for money. The way that belief system got into your subconscious wasn't because you believe that it's true, it's because repetition got it in there. So as an adult now, you can use repetition the same way. So what I did is kind of a unique type of hypnosis. What I do is I would listen to my success hypnosis, and while I would listen to it, I would write out on a journal hypnotic writing. So I would write about how my videos were going viral and I was published and all this stuff, and I would write it in the present tense until I got into a hypnotic trance. Once I felt that, which may take 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, it'll be easier and easier every time because you start to bypass the conscious mind. But once I did that, then I would close my eyes, listen to my hypnosis, and I would practice feeling what it felt like to get my books published, to get a viral video. I'd see myself jumping up and down. I'd enter that movie until I could really feel it in my nervous system. Not as a picture in my head I daydreamed about and projected into the future, but something that I was actually activating in my cells, in my brain, and in my nervous system. So I invite you to give that a try. You can download my free success hypnosis. If you click there, go to jakeshypnosis.com, or it's pinned to the comments and in the description. You can use that, or you can do it another way. But when you do it, add the writing element to it in present tense. It's funny because at first your mind wants to overthink it. And that's why you want to do it in the present tense as if it's a journal entry. As if you're like, dear diary, here's what happened. And when you start to do this every day for a couple minutes, it's also going to help when you close your eyes and visualize or mentally rehearse. You have already fired new cells in your brain, new neurons, so it becomes easier to visualize and easier to feel your picture, which is going to help reprogram your subconscious faster. Now, the next thing that I invite you to try is probably my favorite thing that I learned from Bob, and that was affirmations on an index card, right? So repetition is everything. So your brain believes whatever it is that you tell it. So if you want to start attracting wealth, you have to be able to feed it new beliefs, right? So like saying things like, I'm worthy of financial success, or money flows to me easily. And it's one thing to say it, and you may never feel that, or it may be hard to even make it a habit for it to start playing in your head without consciously putting effort into it. Maybe because you've spent so many years being programmed the opposite way. And so what Bob did is Bob had me take an index card, just a 3x5 card. You could do it on a Post-it, or if you don't have it, you could just take normal paper and fold it or rip it up into smaller pieces, and then write your financial affirmation in the present tense on that index card and start carrying it with you everywhere. Now, this seems insane, or it seems neurotic, or like, OCD, or, you're a nut job. I admit I felt like that at first. Here's the crazy thing about it. Even if you're not looking at it and reading it, just by touching it, and remember, I have that index card in, you're sparking those cells in your brain subconsciously. So you can actually have more progress doing this than even visualizing. Because think about it. Stanford University said that we have 60 to 65,000 thoughts subconsciously all day. 60 to 65,000 thoughts and emotions and habits. Well, most of those are negative financial programming. Well, the crazy thing is, if you carry an index card around with you all the time, all day long, you might replace 30 or 40 subconscious thoughts, 30 or 40,000 subconscious thoughts throughout a day. So what I started to do is I would do this like whole routine, because I always like to feel like my body feels good before I sit down to visualize. So I'd go on a walk holding my index card, and I'd go walk for whatever, 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes. And while I'm walking, I'm just holding it in my hand. And as much as possible, I'm consciously saying the affirmation. But more importantly, I'm getting excited. I'm not saying an affirmation for a goal in the future I hope to get. I am affirming how grateful I am that it's all happening now. I'm walking around doing that over and over. Then I come back. That's when I go into the hypnotic technique. I turn on my success hypnosis. I write out like a daydream of the future in the present tense with super minute detail about how excited I am and how great it's going. Then I close my eyes and I practice visualizing it. This is literally like putting a seed in the soil and watering it every single day. Harvard neuroscientists did a study, and they found that your brain doesn't know the difference neurologically between what's real and what's imagined. A lot of times when people hear about this kind of stuff, they think it's woo-woo, right? And I get it. I did too. You know, you think it's woo-woo or like it can't be this easy. And I get it. I felt like that. Well, the crazy thing is, Harvard, of all, like not some obscure mind-body university, Harvard neuroscientists did a study, and they wanted to see, okay, let's take a group of people and have them play the piano, and another group, let's just have them imagine playing the piano. Well, they found out the group that imagined playing the piano had the same neural activity as the group that actually played. They were activating the same cells, building the same neural connections, and then they took a control group that did nothing, just so they could see if this worked. Well, they found a nearly identical brain scans on the fMRI machines between the imagination group and the group that actually played. And so they concluded your brain doesn't actually know the difference between real and imagined. And then however it gets repeatedly programmed, that becomes its reality, i.e. your financial reality. So once you do this, you train your brain for financial success. The thing is, most of our lives have been trained for the opposite. And that's why it's so important to watch this video again. If you don't watch it, just listen to it while you're in the shower, while you're cooking dinner, while you're on a walk. Listen to it every day or every couple days and start to build this new pattern so it feels normal. And when you do, you're going to see amazing shifts start to happen in your life. So thanks for watching today's video. Make sure you get my free success hypnosis, jakeshypnosis.com. You can click right here to get it. Go to jakeshypnosis.com, or it's pinned to the comments and in the description. If you enjoy this video, give me a comment down below that says, money comes to me easily, or I deserve to be rich. And you can click right here to watch another video.